Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome one and all to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. I am, of course, your host, Thomas, the Duke of Anime. And I'm pleased to be here to talk with you and all about video games. Coming back from short hiatus, he was lost, but now he's found. We have the Duke of Rocket League. How are you doing, Cole?
Doing good. Glad to be back. Had a few sick weeks, had a few personal weeks. It's been crazy. Ready to talk video games.
Good to have you back. Good to have you back. And of course, in my right corner, we have the Duke of Education. How are you, Alfredo?
I am doing absolutely amazing, as you can probably imagine, which we'll probably get into. But yeah, I'm very excited. Great
we'll get
week
it.
for me. Great week.
I wonder why. We'll get into it in a second, of course. But you already know we have a video game podcast, so we have to always start our podcast with what we've been playing. And since he's lost and now he's found, Cole, why don't you start? What have you been playing this week?
Okay. I've been playing Rocket League as always. I cannot.
course.
It's just the game that if I'm tired, I'm stressed out, which I've been doing a lot of business stuff. I just sit down, I just throw it on, and I just unwind because it's just muscle memory. And I can just play. I'll throw in a podcast or a TV show or listen to the news, and I just play Rocket League. It's like it's crazy because it takes
Playing
me
Rocket League with the news on, that must be an experience.
Well, I've been listening to the Elon Musk stuff, so I've been like interested in all the Twitter stuff. So I've been listening to, and not even the news. I mean, like Twitter. I mean, like YouTube, like personalities talking.
Alternative news.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The fun news.
So, Dancing with the Duke of Design, the Game Catharsis said, maybe they're hanging out tonight.
Maybe.
The Duke of Design is absent. So I have been playing with my kids. I bought Kirby, and what's the name? It's Kirby Forgotten Land, Forgotten Lands.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And I tell you what, this is an awesome kids game, and it's kind of hard to find. They don't play co-op. I have 2 Switches, so they play. Which y'all, I could do a whole podcast on the parental controls of the Switch and how. Oh man, it sucks. It is a nightmare.
Not where I thought you were going with this.
No. But anyway, like I have to log in one under my name, and then I have to have a guest account, and they both have to be connected online. If we get in the car, one of my kids' Switches doesn't work because it has to check. It's constantly checking the internet to see if you can play it.
The only one is like the primary one, right?
Yeah, and even the thing is,
sucks.
if I have my primary account, and I thought that I could create like multiple kids accounts under that account, and if my Cole account bought Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and I had like Braden, my kid's account with his Mario character, so a different user, I thought he'd be able to have access to my library. It's not true. He does not have access to my library at all.
So they want that money.
So what I have to do is purchase the game under Cole, and then if he's on that Switch as a different user, he can play it, but the other Switch has to be guest logged in as Cole to play it. So I have to be logged in on both accounts under my name. It's just not family friendly.
Well, Cole, chat has an answer for you. Just buy multiple Kirby games.
Yeah, obviously.
No. Hello, and honestly, I've thought about it. Like that sucks.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
On Kirby, like.
Wait, but doesn't Kirby have a co-op mode?
It does, but here's the thing on the co-op
that
mode.
Sucks, I'm guessing.
It's the same as Mario 3D World, 3D Land. 3D World, and if one gets far ahead, the other one just drops off. So my younger one, my 3-year-old, keeps dropping off the screen. He's a floating bubble for 90% of the time, and the other one is running ahead, laughing, thinks it's funny, and he's getting pissed off because he's just floating around the whole time.
You think they would solve this problem? I remember that happening in like Sonic 3, Sonic 2.
So I had a proud dad moment. The first boss of the game is like this big gorilla. And they got to it, and they were so excited. They played through all the levels. They got to this big, massive gorilla, and they're fighting. And they were just losing. And my 4-year-old beat him, and I was like, "Dang, that's incredible!" He actually like learned the patterns of the boss, and I feel like it's a big step in a gamer's life. You know,
that's awesome.
And I witnessed that, and I was kind of shocked because I couldn't believe he did it. But the game's awesome for them. They love it. And they collect the stars, the coins, and they can go back to town. And there's a little gotcha machine where they can get little toys and they can look at them. So they go to the levels, they harvest all the stars, they go back and see what little toy they get. It's probably training them for microtransactions and stuff.
Get them in early. Wait, okay, so I have a question. So clearly this is a great children's game, but is this a great Alfredo game? Would I like this game? Because I've been looking at it and
yeah,
I've been thinking it's a good, like, it looks like Ape Escape, like something like that, but maybe not. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I would say wait for it to go on sale, but Nintendo just doesn't go on
Never
sale.
gonna happen.
It's just really easy. It's really easy, but it's so pretty and fun and like joyful. It reminds me a little bit of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, but obviously, I mean that's a hard that one's hard. That's a great game, but just I think the colors or something remind me of that. It's beautiful.
I can see that. It's
and
Alfredo.
it's just happy. That's a happy game.
Alfredo download the demo.
I did, and I keep forgetting to try it.
Yeah, I played through the whole demo, and I enjoyed what I played.
And I feel like the game gets better. The game gets better than the demo.
All that I've gotten through is the initial cutscene, and I keep replaying it because I cannot get over how Kirby's eyes just go full anime eyes. Like after seeing the tornado.
I love it. No, I absolutely love like the art style and little comedic chops of this game. As far as what I've seen, I just can't justify dropping the 60 on it right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's so many good games out there.
Yeah, the problem is that I got to choose between that or destroying Chaos with Final Fantasy, and I think I got to do the Chaos. Right?
I think we do have to do the Chaos at some point. We eventually get to that.
Yeah,
I'd say it's not worth the $60 just because. I mean, it's awesome that I get to experience these games because I probably wouldn't if I didn't have kids. But like, I'm really enjoying playing them with them. And they're understanding like gaming mechanics, like finding the boss patterns and going through the levels and how to unlock new worlds and new sections. So that's just fun for me, But yeah, I wouldn't really recommend it for just
so basically this is not the Super Mario Odyssey we thought it might be for Kirby.
Oh no.
I did say it could be. I definitely did say it could be when we were talking about it.
It had so much potential, but
it's not even 3D World. Like 3D World's awesome, and I would absolutely recommend that for an adult and a Mario fan.
Is it Bowser's Fury at least?
No, it's not near. No, come on. It's not. It ain't even close to that.
Oh man,
it's not. It's just like a standard. Like it's charming and it's just a kids game.
I wonder if it will be on some Game of the Years when we get towards the end of the year.
Not this year is too stacked. Last year it would have been Game of the Year. 100%.
I don't know. I feel like we're in a wasteland right now. I have time to catch up on my backlog now, which is nice actually.
Every game I've played this year would have been Game of the Year last year. That's how good this year is, and that's how terrible last year was. Okay, so then the other game I've been playing is Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. And I'll tell you, I remember you guys were talking about last week. And I think
Ben played it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of you asked about the multiplayer. I can't remember who it was, and y'all talking about that. He played with his wife, and
probably Alfredo.
Yeah, well, he probably didn't notice this because he was playing with his wife, but it's an awful kids Lego game because if you remember the other Lego games, the view is like almost bird's eye. Like what do we call the view that's not like top down? It's not isometric.
Isometric is
kind of, but not top down. It's like the other games are kind of at an angle. You know what I mean? Like
the game I always the first game I ever encountered with that camera was Sonic 3D Blast. And,
what is that? I've never heard of that game.
You never heard that game?
No.
It was the one Sonic game on the Saturn. It was the first.
Okay,
the first three. Like contrary to popular belief, Sonic Adventure was not the first 3D Sonic game. It was the second.
Yeah, and it was the 3D.
It was isometric, apparently.
And it was horrible.
Sega Saturn.
It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it.
I had it on Sonic Mega Collection, but I digress.
So that's the thing, is he didn't realize it because he's used to third-person action cameras. The kids aren't. They can't play it. They couldn't play it. So that sucks because they loved it. They loved because they're trying to learn it, but first of all, it's a split screen right down the middle, vertical split. So you can't see much of the screen. You know, the other Lego games, they'll join together and you can see the whole set. So it's just they're completely like that. And it's the shooting mechanics is just hard for them to hold L2 and hit R2. Like they can't play it. And that's just kind of a bummer because I was really wanting to play these Lego games with them. Maybe the silver lining is that they'll learn how to use the camera, because I've been trying to teach them. Even my 4-year-old has a hard time with it.
Mhm.
It's a hard thing to grasp.
Yeah, especially
If
with
you-
tiny hands.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. So that sucks. I mean, I was really bummed out about that because, the other camera worked great. They didn't even in the other Lego games, you don't control the camera at all. It's completely
Oh, really?
automatic. Yeah, you don't control it one
Well,
bit.
this one has more not accurate, but more modern day shooting.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they did it, because you
Yeah,
can't really do that with
Yeah, you can't.
in the old Lego games. As far as I remember, you were just you're aiming that way, and
Yeah,
you
I
shoot
just
the guys.
yeah. You would point your character and just tap it and it would shoot that direction.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
just wish
I
there was
guess
an
from that
option, though.
reason, yeah, exactly, yeah, because they gave the option for like the mumble,
Mhm.
but I would imagine that changing that would be kind of hard, and just the way they've done it.
Uh-huh. And I mean, I think that I was hoping for a lot from this game, and it's just not that special, I don't think.
Even you just playing it like single player, like how
Yeah.
do you feel about it?
I just think that it's more Lego. I mean, it's a little bit of an upgrade, but I feel like this is an upgrade they should have done 5, 6, 7 years ago.
What are you playing it on?
PS5.
Okay,
I mean, it looks pretty good. It looks good. It's
I
pretty, but
I
not
want to know
not that crazy.
I want to know how the Switch version runs.
Oh god.
Like,
Oh, you don't even want to know,
Oh,
probably.
God.
I
but
don't
my
think
thing
you
is,
wanna know.
I do think a game of that like scope would be, I feel, a better experience on a portable console. I kind of would want to just see. I want to see it at least. Like if it's running at like 15 frames per second, then yeah. but I haven't looked at any reviews, so I might just do that after this, because I am more, as a Star Wars fanatic, I'm morbidly curious about this. But I've
Mhm.
only heard mixed things from
Well,
it.
I was too, and I was hyped about it, and I was hyped for the evolution of Lego,
Yeah,
and it just doesn't feel like that much of an evolution. Yeah, they add the third person shooting, and they add the movable camera, and other than that, the graphics are a little prettier. They don't blow you away though, really. I mean, every now and then they're pretty, but it's underwhelming from what I thought this was going to be in the trailers and everything,
they did
and
hype
like
it
the
up.
hype.
The best Lego game ever.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it
just
doesn't
from
seem
the
like it's
sheer
bad.
content of what they were promising, it seemed like a great product to put out there.
Well, no,
It seemed
and I
like it was
haven't
gonna be
got
a lot
that
of fun.
far. So I know Ben was saying that there's massive worlds, and that's like what my kids like. They like just having the open world and just roaming and doing stuff. So maybe when we get there, they'll start learning. But
Maybe they'll get good. Like it's
yeah, I know.
possible.
I think eventually they'll get the camera thing. But
Yeah. You know what I'm
Long
saying? I mean,
time,
maybe
long
this
time.
is the breakthrough you're looking for with
Right.
that.
hey, I
A
learned how
little
to do
challenge.
I learned how to do a camera with the Nintendo 64 controller with those C buttons.
Oh God.
If I learned how to do that, they can learn this.
Right.
There might not be a more uncomfortable controller than that controller.
Yeah, crazy. Anyway.
Alfredo, what have you been playing this week?
I have been playing more Elden Ring. I'm still not done the game. It's still discovering new things every day. But what I really wanted to talk about is a game that I started playing today. That came to Game Pass this week.
I
that I've been
downloaded
highly anticipating.
this.
Yeah.
I downloaded it too.
It's called Lost in Random. So this
Oh.
game was shown off. I can't remember. It was one of the most recent conferences. I think maybe this past E3 or maybe this past December. I can't
It's been out
remember.
for a while, right?
Yeah, it's been out. It's been out for a while, but I didn't want to get it because I knew it would come to Game Pass eventually. And I was shocked to see last week that they were like, "Hey, it's coming soon." So I bided my time. So for people who don't know, Lost in Random is basically it's an indie game that is one of the EA originals, like one of those types of games. And the trailer shows it being very Coraline-esque in terms of art direction, and all in just like that theme. So like think Coraline or Nightmare Before Christmas with its art design and with its aesthetic, all of that. So it looks like a Coraline movie, kind of, in a game form. And you're basically playing this third person action adventure where the battle system is a cross between a card game. So like Slay the Spider, a cross between that kind of deal and third person like shooting mechanics and hack and slash. So basically how it works is that there's a level of RNG that goes into it where you have this dice that you are rolling, and whatever the roll ends up being is how many points you have to play. And just like regular card games like Slay the Spire, the cards in your deck have a certain amount of points that you need to accumulate in order to play. So depending on your roll, that tells you what you're able to actually use. So let's say a sword card might take 2 points, but you only roll a 1. So you can't do that, but you can do like a trap card. So like it's a little bit of like Yu-Gi-Oh! And a little bit of action adventure all in one kind of deal. Not any summons. Well, there's kind of some summons, but beside the point. So that's the game. So what I will say, I played a good bit of this game now, probably 4 or 5 hours just today. And what I will say is that the gameplay is lacking, is a little bit lacking. It's the character itself, it's a little floaty. The mechanics are floaty. The shooting mechanics are not that tight. They're not precise, but you can kind of get used to it. And the more I played, well, at first I didn't really like it. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. Even the card mechanic doesn't really like feel fun to me. But the more I played the game and the more it expanded basically how it plays, the more I liked it. The more I customized my deck, the more I played it more in terms of that. I liked it more. I can't say that it's like the greatest thing ever, but what is the greatest thing ever about this game is the world and the story, because I am very, very, very incredibly impressed about how they are absolutely nailing like the story and the world that you're in, because this game really does feel less like a game and more like an interactive movie of sorts, where the cutscenes and the story itself and the people that you interact with are so incredibly well thought out and well fleshed out that that alone is making me want to just play this game and strive through, even though I might not like the gameplay that much. It's every single character that I run into, the NPCs, you can talk to random people in the streets, and they each have a very, very unique character to them. Like these crazy voices, these crazy personalities, and I'm enjoying it so much. The game is hilarious as well, and the story is very, very, very interesting. So I would say if you're interested in Coraline or like those types of world, like this game will 100% deliver on that. And as far as just like light story, you're basically a, I don't know how old she is actually. Like you're a 10-year-old in this world, and the loose story of it is that there's basically this evil queen, or well, yeah, there's this evil queen who oversees this huge kingdom of 6 different worlds, and basically she wants to make sure that everything is fair. And because of that, the entire world relies on a dice system. So when you're born and you reach the age of 12, you roll a dice, and whatever you roll determines where you get placed in society. So it's like a caste system. It's not about where you're born, but it's about what you roll and what kind of job and what kind of future you will have based on that role. So it's a really, really interesting story that has a whole bunch of twists and turns that happen, and I am loving it. I'm loving going into all of the different worlds and seeing how different they are and what conflicts that are in it. I love this game so far, and going at the rate it's going, even though the gameplay is not like perfect, it's good enough that I'm definitely considering this to be one of my game of the years, because the world and the story is that good. So that's what I'm playing. Play it.
Yeah, I've been
It's on
planning.
Xbox Game Pass.
I've been tempted because it's been on sale on PlayStation like consistently, and I've been like, should I pull the trigger? I never did. I never
It's
did.
worth it, but you can get it on Game Pass for
yeah,
free.
now that it's on Game Pass, I downloaded it yesterday. I started playing something else that was random. I should have played that because I love like just the Coraline. I've always been a fan of stop motion. Like ever since I was a kid, I used to watch Wallace and Gromit. So I've always been attracted to that art style. And so having a game kind of in this like Tim Burton-esque world, I think I think it's right up my alley. Love card games as well. So I'm going to be trying it out.
Yeah, I can't even tell you the last time I played a game that was this whimsical and this fun, I guess, to play in terms of like a story. It's been like I can't even.
Not Elden Ring.
No, definitely not Elden Ring. No. Elden Ring is just me. Like at this point, I'm just playing that because I've come this far.
I kid. But yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this out. I don't think I needed to be convinced, but you definitely reassured my faith that I was going to like this game. So everything you described sounds like it's right up my alley.
I need to talk. I need you to play this game so I could talk to you about it. Okay. Is the problem? Like I'm trying not to say spoilers. Because,
that puts a little more.
So good.
That puts a little more motivation on me to get started this week. How long do you think it goes?
I don't know, but I know. So the way the game works is that I'm not sure how long it is, but what it's having me do is basically there's 6 different kingdoms because on a 6-sided die, there's 6 different sides.
Right.
So you go through each of the kingdoms. I'm on world. You start in world 1. I'm in world 3 right now, and I'm about 5 or 6 hours in. So the full last world probably took me about 3 or 4 hours to get through. So 6 worlds, 3 times 6. I don't know if it'll actually take like 15 to 18-ish hours. But this game also has like side quests and stuff that you don't have to do. But I am doing all of them because I love the NPCs and their side quests. So.
Well, good to hear. Sounds like a fun time. Are you have you heard of the game, Cole, before today?
No, I have not. I looked up gameplay footage though while he was talking about it, and it looks pretty cool. I like the look of it.
Gameplay is fun. I like it now the more that I played it, but I definitely had to force myself to play like the first 1 or 2 hours before I was like, okay, like I'm getting the hang of this. Like I kind of like it now. So we'll see if it can, stay that way.
Go ahead, Cole.
I was gonna say, so you know what turns me off about these games though is I don't like the card game aspect, and I don't like any card games.
I understand.
So, and this may be a little bit off topic, but do you guys like those kind of games? Do y'all play those card games?
I play them all the time. Yeah,
I was a Yu-Gi-Oh world champion. So yeah.
Okay, so I know nothing about
just a classic champion, no sweat.
I know nothing about this. Yeah. I have skirted through my video game life and my nerd life without even understanding how these games work. And I think it's because I'm 36 and I barely missed the wave of Pokemon. When Pokemon got popular, I was like coming into I was just a little bit older than the crowd, and I didn't never gravitate towards it. So what do you recommend to play with?
I would say you kind of have to look at when I'm bad. Like, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh or anything anymore, but when I used to, it almost feels like a turn-based RPG battle almost, because those games kind of follow the same format. Obviously, there are things different because they're characters as opposed to just individual cards, but just the fundamental, like you pick your move. You can use a move to kind of put your opponent in a bad situation.
So let me start from this point. Is generally these card games you get a random deck or you collect a deck.
Depends. It depends on the card game.
You lay your decks down. So if I wanted to get into this, what's the best way for me what's the beginner's game to play and honestly, specifically I'd like to play on a mobile device because I can do this.
Okay, easy.
I can do this when I'm out.
No, Hearthstone's a pretty good one.
I don't know. I feel like that's too card gamey because you have Hearthstone, that's a card game.
That's what I want.
Gwent, that's a card game, and then you have something like Slay the Spire, which is kind
of a card game. I think I want to start at a card game.
I wouldn't recommend Slay the Spire because you can't play that on your phone. I don't think. Right?
Yeah, you can. It's on mobile.
Oh, you can. Oh,
yeah, that's what I would suggest.
I feel like I want to get to a legit beginners great card game, like Hearthstone or whatever. I don't know. I mean,
I put in probably about 200-300 hours into Hearthstone.
If someone that's never played anything like that, I could download Hearthstone and play it tonight.
I
And
think so, because I mean, you can go through, because Hearthstone does a good job introducing players to how to play.
I don't know. I
All right,
would
Alfredo, what do you got?
suggest Slay
What do
the
you got?
Spire. But that being said, Lost in Random might actually be baby's first card game because it blends
Other mechanics into
real-time action with
Yeah.
the card game, because you're only using the cards in order to get the weapons. So
Hmm.
like you're using the card to give me a bow and arrow or a sword, and then you can just do hack and slash through that. So it's like a quasi card game.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this the last thing, then we'll just let it go, move on. But so my idea, since I missed out on this, I want to experience it with my kids. So I have two boys, 5 and 4, and I have a baby too. But she's far away from gaming. But anyway, what age are they at the age where I can Because I'm just thinking, hey, when I go to the store, I can buy all a Pokemon card pack, and we can all start collecting our own little packs. Is that how it works? Like, you start your own collection and then you use that, bring it to a table and battle.
Yeah, most card games
This is
have
how
like
dumb I am
starter.
with this,
You know,
y'all. I
like
don't know.
most. Yeah, no, it's all good. Like most card games have like big starter packs you can get that have like a lot of the essential cards. That's how I got introduced to Yu-Gi-Oh. Like my aunt gave me like the Yugi starter deck, and it had like 40 cards in it, and it had like just basic cards, and then. Which is crazy because a lot of those cards, if I sold those now, then I'd make a shit ton of money. But
where are those cards now, Tom?
So they're very similar to Pokemon,
I sold them.
right?
Yeah, I sold them very long ago.
No.
But
you could do the same thing with Pokemon though. Like I just started playing Pokemon, or the actual card game, for the first time. I played probably about 4 years ago, and they have like 15 or 20 card packs, which are only like, they were like $12 each, and I played using that. You just need 2 card packs, and then
now this is a very expensive hobby, Cole. Like
I just
but how much is a pack of cards if you go to Target and you get a pack of Pokemon cards?
the ones that
they
I
used
got,
to be
was like
$8 when I
Yeah.
was a kid, but they've probably gone up. So 12 probably is right.
Does anybody in chat know prices of a Pokemon card pack? Like, I mean, maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm this. They have Pokemon starter decks and not card packs.
Right. Starter decks, sure. Yeah.
But they don't have card packs. You can't just buy a
They
pack
do.
of Pokemon.
They have
cards?
both.
You can, but you can't play a full game with a card pack. You can play like a game if you have a starter pack.
That's why you need that. Yeah, you need to have a deck. Like everybody needs to have a deck first.
So
And
just
then you buy
curiosity, how
pack-
much does a starter deck cost?
Probably
Not
like
that much.
25. Probably.
Okay.
I think
so
it's
not
cheaper
crazy.
than that.
Things do get expensive down the road though.
But what age do you have to be to play this? Probably like you probably need
I
like
was
10.
I
Yeah,
was
10-ish.
like 9 when I got my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But if I had gotten those cards like 4 years before, I probably would have been just fine.
Dang.
Because it's really good. Like
They have
honestly,
to be able to read though. They have to be able to read though, right?
Like 6?
Yeah, because like
that's so young.
I could have played then because I know how to
I
read and
could not. I
I
was
could
a
do
dumb
basic
kid.
math. And
Well, look, my 5-year-old
Chad also
can't read
Chad
yet.
also says you can do it on like a computer or an iPad. So you can
That's
kind of get
true.
them started on there. That's the free way to do it.
Yeah,
You get them
and
started
you
on
can,
there.
two birds, one stone, get them in on microtransactions with
No, one of the reasons I like it is because it's not digital. It's something that we can do that's like physical. We can sit at a table and play,
Fair.
Because we already play so many video games together. They play their Switches, so like I want to get them off that and play like a game.
I would say Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh is still big, even though I hate the direction Yu-Gi-Oh went. But Yu-Gi-Oh is still a big game too. And then Magic, obviously. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of choices to go with. Yeah,
starter deck $12 to $15, $16.
Cool. Yeah,
there you go. So yeah, you can get 2 of those, or 3 if you want to join in. So 3 of those, and then
I think I'll just get them excited about collecting them. Like then they go and they see what animals they get and stuff. Maybe they'll start get.
Just hope they don't get to a place where they start fighting about their cards.
Yeah. Right.
They start dueling each other. And it's like winner gets the best card out of the other one's deck.
Right.
Hey, there it is.
Then it's chaos.
I'm the referee. Give me the card. Do your thing, boys. Anyway, okay. So y'all would agree Hearthstone, and I need to play that then. If
Alfredo didn't agree. Alfredo said
I would say Slay the Spire. It's on.
And I would say Hearthstone just because Hearthstone has a really good tutorial. But
is there a Gwent app? A Gwent game?
There is, but Gwent's kind of hard to get into.
Okay.
Gwent's kind of hard game. But if you want to get into it, like if you played it on The Witcher 3, it's the same game. So
I didn't play it because I don't know. I never got into card games.
Oh, well, try it on The Witcher. Like, cut on The Witcher 3 if you still have it. Try Gwent.
But see, like
I
it's so
couldn't
much
get into
easier
it.
to just pop up my phone and
That's
just play
true.
a few games in bed and re-download The Witcher 3, 150 gigabytes, and go
That's
to a
true.
tavern and sit down.
I actually like Gwent better on the game. That's just me though. I tried playing on the phone and it was fine for like an hour, and I was like, I don't want to play this on my phone. It was just me though, maybe.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Okay.
Any final thoughts about Lost in Random, Alfredo?
Game of the year. Everyone play it.
It came out last year.
God, Game of the Year is gonna be so awesome this
Still
year.
Game
I was
of
gonna,
the Year.
I'm so
Okay,
ready
well,
for our
that's
Game of
just
the Year
shame on me
discussion.
because I guess it should have been my game of the year last year.
Dang, would it have been?
I don't know.
Wow.
Ask
Probably
me
last
when
year
I'm
was
done.
terrible.
Probably not
Oh
because
my god, stop saying that.
It Takes Two can't beat it.
All right. Well, speaking of It Takes Two, that's what I spent a little time playing It Takes Two this week. I dropped this game last year.
Shame.
It wasn't my fault. You need two people to play this game, and the person who I was playing with, me and her, just got very busy, and so we just couldn't really coordinate a time to get back in. And she hit me up like, "We have to beat this damn game," and I'm like, "You're right." And so I brought my PS5 over, and we played, and I thought we were almost done. I thought once you get to the elephant and you try to capture the elephant, I was like, oh, that's it. And so she looks up a walkthrough and she looks at me like, we still got two more big levels left. And I was like, I thought we were finishing this game tonight. Shit.
No,
And so
you were like, oh yeah, there's more game.
not gonna lie, I like the game. I think it's a fun game. It drags. It does kind of drag towards the end. So I will finish the game, but it is definitely not it wouldn't have been my favorite game of last year, even if I finished it. So, but still a fun game. Shouts out to Joseph Fares. Shouts out Joseph Fares, made a great game, and I will do my due diligence to beat it, which I will also do with the other game I've been playing, and I'm excited to talk about it. I talked about it a little bit last week, of course, but I'm happy to have the guy who was Nostradamus here talking about this game. And look, I was never super negative about it because I did say it was going to get I was like, it's going to get like a 93, 94. It's going to sell it's going to sell 10. It's going to be the highest selling From Software game. But I wasn't as over the hill about it as the Duke of Rocket League. And I stand here saying this is probably my game of the year. And I was not expecting that. It threw a wrench into my plans of Horizon.
What made it cross that? Because you played for several hours and it wasn't your game of the year. And you almost started getting
Horizon,
down on
right?
it just a touch. And then it seems like you kind of did a U-turn a little bit.
You know why? Because for some reason, I think I started off with the wrong class when I played those initial hour. I think it was like an hour and a half. I started with the wrong class. I didn't like how I was playing on like a share play stream, so it didn't feel right. And I looked at it and I was playing the tutorial section. And I'm like, this is Dark Souls 4. So once I have it in my possession, I'm playing it. It just felt different. It felt like a different game than what I've played from this developer before. I've always respected From Software. I've always admired their game design, but I've never been a fan of how they structured their games, ever. I never have liked the fact that if I'm doing bad at this boss, you got to get good.
Too bad.
Yeah, I never like that because it's basically just hitting your head on the wall until you figure out what you need to do. And I'm like, I don't like that game design. I think that Elden Ring is the greatest tutorial for all of the rest of their games. It's insane how now I kind of get their games now.
Do you know how many people are going to have that same attitude? They're going to play Elden Ring and they're going to go buy all the other games.
Now, I do think that Elden Ring, to me at least, I played it for 55 hours at this point.
Oh dang, you passed me. I'm
I had
50 hours.
You probably passed me too.
What level are you, Alfredo?
102, I think.
Oh wow, I'm only level 60. But
Get good.
I'm pretty much at the I'm at the stage where I can go get the final boss, or I can just keep doing what I want to do.
Oh, you
And
are? I don't even know where the final boss is still. I'm just going to random places.
we'll talk off stream to avoid
Yeah,
spoilers. But this game is amazing from the standpoint of it has so many faults. Like I have a notebook for this game. Like I've never I said that last week. I've never made a notebook for any game in my entire life.
You were so against that.
I
Having a
don't
notebook for a game.
I'm so against it. I still don't like the fact that I have to keep a notebook. The fact that this game doesn't have a quest log boggles my mind. Like it still to this day just boggles my mind. Like it doesn't make any damn sense. But besides that, the fact that I'm even willing to do that for this game shows me how much I love this game. Because I would like if any other game was asking me to do that, like I'm putting this down. This
Too much
game,
commitment.
because it fixes the fundamental problem I have with these games, in that if you are struggling with a boss, you have to keep hitting your head. So if I'm struggling with a boss, I just go to a different area.
Mhm.
And I think that that's revolutionary for these type of games, because these games already had the best combat in the industry. And the fact that it's open world just automatically means this is the best combat in open world history, just off that. And
Holding my tongue.
I mean, I can't look. I played Horizon this year. I love Horizon. I thought Horizon had my favorite open world combat of all time. I really did. It doesn't compare.
Oof.
Like it
Yeah,
just doesn't
I
compare.
with you, man.
Totally disagree on that.
I don't think there's any combat that touches From Software's combat.
It's like it just, and when I say combat Alfredo, it also has to do with the amount of ways you can deal with the problem. Where Horizon
and the variety of enemies and attacks, and it is unbelievable.
Like with Horizon Alfredo, I mean, look, I played Horizon. I plan on going back and platinuming it.
Wait, before you go on, does Alfredo, is that what you think is the best combat in open world history? Horizon?
I would have to think about that a little more, but I would put my foot down and say Elden Ring for sure is not the best combat system I've experienced in a game.
It's not.
Open
I think
world.
it's definitively the best. It's not my favorite, because Spider-Man is my favorite, of course. But from a critical, if I put my critical eye on, and I'm just looking at this game, and I'm like, you can attack your enemies in so many different ways. Like there are like an endless amount of ways you can attack this.
What class are you, and what kind of style do you use?
I forgot what class I
picked. Are you using magic, or what weapons are you using?
So I'm not using magic in a crazy way. Like my intelligence is like 18, my faith is like 18. My arcane is very low.
You're a little
but but my health is high, my vigor is high, my endurance is high, and my FP is high. So I'm able to, and I'm always I'm always double wielding. And the one thing that really did change how I feel about this game is when I went to go play Bloodborne. I replayed Bloodborne last week, and I was significantly better than the last time I played Bloodborne. And I'm like, Elden Ring kind of showed me how to play these games properly now. And so I was because when I played Bloodborne before, I never really used the gun like that. Like I'd use it when I absolutely had to, but it wasn't my favorite thing. I was abusing it. And it gave me ideas like, how can I kind of recreate this style in Elden Ring? And you can do that by using the whip. The whip is essentially the gun from Bloodborne.
You can also equip an ash that's a quick step, and it's L2, and it's that Bloodborne sidestep. You know what I mean? Like the Bloodborne dodge is not a roll. It's like a left to right, like it's like a quick sidestep.
You're right.
And so that ash, I equipped it as my L2. So I have the dodge roll, and then I have that like it's almost like a step around behind the enemy. It's really awesome.
That's dope. Yeah,
I just have a badass katana like magic blade thing with my.
You can't swap it out. I have a blue crystal sword. That's my main go-to. So that, and it has both magic and physical damage associated with it. I always carry around my what is it? It's the thing that you can use to like use fireballs and stuff. I forgot what it's called.
Oh, the dragon thing?
It's not even called the dragon thing. You get it initially. It's like these like two pillar things you get, and you're able to like use it for healing spells, your fireball spells. I have that. I have a scepter, and I carry my whip around.
You have a little bit of everything. It sounds like.
Yeah, and so when I increase my strength, I increase how much I can hold. So I'm always carrying around a lot. So I always have, but I'm mainly using the whip, and the whip like just opens it up because the whip doesn't take that much of your stamina. So like I'll just whip an opponent like 20 straight times and then like swipe with my sword and they're done. because the whip like gets them to stagger quicker. And so and it showed me then I'm like, damn, this is every single one of their games.
Can you like use the whip to like do a Scorpion Mortal Kombat thing where you know come over
Get
here.
over here.
No, I wish. No, I wish.
Missed
But
opportunity.
But it's perfect because whenever because the one thing about Bloodborne that I always liked is when the enemy's about to attack, if you hit them with the gun, they just like kind of like seize up. That same thing happens when you hit them with the whip. Like if you hit them with the whip, they start seizing up. Then 5 straight sword slashes and they're dead. Also, the summons in this game are great. They make the game a lot easier. I remember I said that I think that Souls games have an easy mode. I stand by it, and they listened, and they've created an easy mode for Elden Ring. It's just not an option. They've overwhelmed the player with like how you can make the game easier. You can bring summons into it. You can use your magic.
You can bring cooperative people in there. Up
Yeah,
to like 2 or 3 people.
If you're in the open world and you're fighting a boss, you can use Torrent. Torrent is also probably like one of the best horses I've ever used in a video game, period. So y'all know what my big quality about open world games, what I think is the most essential thing.
Have a horse.
Traversal.
Yeah.
This game excels in traversal. It's not the best traversal. I think obviously Spider-Man's the best traversal, but Torrent is a really good option. So yeah, I think this week is the week that I really like went from this is one of my favorite games of the year to I don't see anything getting close to this. Like it's pulling away. Now it could pull me back because Ben did kind of and I am kind of seeing like, okay, I can see how this kind of wears a little thin.
Yeah, but every game does that at some point. When you start getting into 70 hours,
Horizon never did that. I'll say that. Horizon, I was just a consistent, like, just all the way through. I've enjoyed it. Deathloop's another one where all the way through, I'm just like, I'm enjoying this whole thing.
Except the ending. Ending sucked.
I like that ending. I like my ending. But not every game can do that, but I don't consider just because a game does that means that it's a bad game. It's just one of my negatives. Like, and there are like anybody who tells me this game's a 10 out of 10, I look at them a little sideways. But I think this is the definitive 9 out of 10 for me. So I love it. I want to give Cole his props because Cole predicted this from jump. I was hesitant to say it's going to be as big as it is, and I feel like it's even bigger than you suggested it was going to be, and that shocks me. It somehow made one of my favorite manga series relevant again. It's somehow the residue of Elden Ring made Berserk popular again, and I'm like, that's insane. That's insane.
It's gonna be interesting with the Game of the Year conversation that we'll end up having. I feel like I'm going to be fighting a battle myself.
I mean, look, Horizon.
We'll see.
Oh, look, Horizon has a chance to win me over when I go to Platinum. It has a chance. I left a lot of stuff to do in Horizon, so it's like once I go back to it, there's a lot of side quests to go back to. I can't wait. Like I'm going to enjoy going back because I feel like I feel like I needed some time away from it to really like see. Like I need to play Elden Ring, compare them, and now that I've just adjusted my thoughts to Elden Ring is a much better game. I want to see how the end game to Horizon is. I'm curious to see how that's going to be. But yes, if you're asking whether I'm going to go back to Horizon being game of the year, I don't know.
Well, as much as I'm saying, I have issues with Elden Ring and I don't think it's all that, I also have not gone back to playing Horizon since I started playing Elden Ring. So there's that.
It's hard to go back to anything, to be honest. Like it is weird playing other games after like cutting off Elden Ring.
Right. I feel like I'm gonna lose I gotta keep playing Elden Ring because I'm gonna forget how to play or I'm gonna lose what little skill I have in it.
Yeah, and I'm curious because Though I've never thought this for definitely not from software game, but even most RPGs, like I'm thinking, what am I doing for my next run? And I'm like, I've never been that type of player to think about a next run so quickly. Even like in Spider-Man, I don't think I started my new game plus like immediately. You know, like the fact that I'm considering like after I beat this, like, am I going to do a different run with a different like? Because I know I can respec and everything, but I'm curious as to starting it again, how it's going to be like with my knowledge of
Right.
everything. So yeah, it's an incredible game, and want to shout out Cole for being a believer.
It's good. They
introducing me to
did
his
it.
world.
They did it. It's
They
great.
did it. They did it. Now, another studio unfortunately did it, and they announced a little indie game called Kingdom Hearts 4. Kingdom Hearts 4 is officially been born into the world. Now, when it will be mature enough to walk to our game consoles, we'll see. That's probably going to be a long ass time,
I
but
don't know.
you know.
I don't think it will.
You know,
Look,
we have to have the Duke of Education sound off on his opinion first, because he is
yes.
our resident Kingdom Hearts fan. So, Alfredo, the floor is yours.
I just want to say, I want to thank Nomura for giving me Kingdom Hearts 4 way ahead of when I thought we would get it. I'm just so proud of him. I just everything. Thank you.
Oh, what were you thinking when this trailer came on? Like, were you completely like going crazy? What were you doing?
First of all, well, okay, so shame on me because this announcement was a part of the Kingdom Hearts
20th.
anniversary stream that I didn't even know what was happening. But when I did hear it was happening, I was like, okay, so here comes the million Kingdom Hearts spin-offs, which I might not be mad about because they did give us Birth by Sleep, which is probably one of the best Kingdom Hearts games ever. So, Dream Drop Distance, all of that. So I thought we were going to get one of those, which we did. They opened it up with a little mobile game, which continued the very complicated Kingdom Hearts lore. They gave us that. Then they gave us another trailer for what looked to be like a PS2 era type game, which I forgot what that subtitle was called. But it's not important because the important part is right after that trailer was done, they started playing as opposed to the PS2 graphics that we just saw, they started playing this beautiful CGI trailer, what appeared to be a CGI trailer, beautiful in Unreal Engine 4, and then Sora appears. So after Sora appeared, I knew it was over. I didn't think it was going to be Kingdom Hearts 4, but they started talking about basically exactly where Kingdom Hearts 3 had ended. So they launched into that. They gave us some actual gameplay, which I was also shocked to see. And then it ended up ending in Kingdom Hearts 4. Not Kingdom Hearts 3.58, The Trials of Sora. No, Kingdom Hearts 4, which is huge for Kingdom Hearts because they decided, okay, let's not make a spin-off. Let's not wait the 10-year gap that we did between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3. Let's do Kingdom Hearts 4. And if they're doing Kingdom Hearts 4, then that means all bets are off and we're going to get a lot more than what we would expect if we were to get just regular Kingdom Hearts side spin-off game, which I don't have words, but I'm so excited. I do think though, because they have announced Kingdom Hearts 4, that we will get this game sooner rather than later. We will definitely not wait the amount of time we waited for Kingdom Hearts 3. I think we'll probably get this game, I'm thinking 2025 is what I'm predicting. But yeah, I am so excited. Sora also looks a lot differently. They basically showed not a Disney World in the trailer. They showed a Final Fantasy-esque world, like super realistic. Like it's basically
It's the afterlife, right? Like it's considered the afterlife.
yeah, but they're calling it Quadranium, however you say it. They're calling it Quadranium. And they said in the trailer that he's in the afterlife, which is basically what happened in Kingdom Hearts 3, the end of it. Light spoilers for it, but If you saw the trailer, you know what happened. But yeah, he's saying he's in the afterlife. But they did show at the end of the trailer that both Goofy and Donald Duck will be back with Sora. So it won't be just a normal Final Fantasy game, which a lot of people were actually predicting because of what Nomura did in the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC, which was basically he inserted Final Fantasy 13 Versus, that game that was canceled and ultimately became Final Fantasy 15. He inserted that same exact trailer, but with Kingdom Hearts character that he created. So like it was the same exact scene that we saw from Final Fantasy Versus 13 all those years ago when it was first announced, but it was just put into the Kingdom Hearts universe instead. Mm-hmm. And it looked like super realistic. It looked like what you would expect out of a Final Fantasy game. So we thought it would be going more in that direction, but because Donald and Goofy are back, that lets us know that we're still getting the Disney worlds in it. It won't just be another Final Fantasy game. We're getting Kingdom Hearts with Disney worlds in it again. Hopefully not a whole Frozen song again, but we'll see.
I wish we could. Look.
So excited.
Did someone say... Go ahead, Thomas. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. What would you say?
I was going to say, I thought I read somewhere that someone saw the Death Star.
They saw the ATST legs.
Oh.
Yeah.
And because they were in a grass world, so it looks like it could be on
Indoor.
Yeah, Indoor.
Mm-hmm. A Star Wars world.
So
probably going to get Star Wars and Marvel properties in this next one, in addition to like some.
I disagree from the standpoint we might get other stuff. I think we're getting this might be a Star Wars and Marvel affair. I think
exclusively.
Why not?
Yeah, it's so big.
Why not?
I'll tell you why. The Kingdom Hearts fandom will riot. That's why.
Will they?
Honestly, they will.
Alfredo, how many times can you go to Olympus? How many times?
Actually, we're definitely going to Olympus because when Donald and Goofy were introduced, Hades appeared. So Olympus is going to be there. Or some form of underworld.
I think that because Hades is kind of one of the essential characters of Kingdom Hearts. So I think you can still have Hades and not go to Olympus.
I don't know.
I think that what I saw from the trailer was the best Kingdom Hearts content I've seen in damn near a decade.
That's because you don't like Kingdom Hearts, and it was giving you Final Fantasy.
It was maybe partially that. I can't lie to you. Like Sora definitely looked the most Final Fantasy he's ever looked. I am partial to the fact that I don't know if he's going to look like that the whole game.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's not.
It's very. I don't think it's a sure bet he won't, but it's possible that that's just how he looks in that specific game world.
Right.
That might be because the one thing I did notice is normal shoes. He had normal shoes on.
Normal shoes, normal hands.
But that does speak to, are they going to change the vibe of this series? Because you're going to be on Unreal Engine 5.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want things to look as good as possible. Does changing up that goofy, not for lack of a better word, this goofy look that Kingdom Hearts kind of has, and making it more anime friendly, making it more accessible, I think that there is room for that to happen. I think there's room for you to get away from like the Frozen worlds and the Little Mermaid worlds and really do what's in the zeitgeist. Because movies, I mean, look, I know that stuff like Encanto's big. Exactly. I know that Ray of the Last Dragon.
You really think they're not gonna put We Don't Talk About Bruno in this game?
I think there can be. I think they can put that stuff in without making it whole worlds. Like, I think that they can make it more Easter eggy stuff.
I get what you're saying. I see your vision.
Because the way they make, because I remember the Kingdom Hearts 3 stuff, and they were really playing up. Like, I think Olympus was the first thing we saw.
Yeah.
I think that they know that this one could be the big one. Like they know that if they do this right, like no bullshit in between, I think it could come a little earlier. I think it could come 2024. I think it's very possible we could see a holiday 2024. They're not doing bullshit in between. I can see this being the breakout game for them.
So,
and look, and Kingdom Hearts is one of the biggest franchises, of course, but I do think that Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't know how many people like became a part of Kingdom Hearts because of Kingdom Hearts 3. You know what I'm saying?
no, you have to be in it already.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think Kingdom Hearts 4 is an opportunity because you're starting with a new arc. It's I forgot what the name of the new arc is, but they said it
Master arc.
right. So I think that this is a chance for them to really like knock this one out the park in terms of getting more people involved in the franchise.
I agree.
And I don't think having all these levels, like, you know, Little Mermaid level, Olympus, all this, I don't think that leads to, you know, more people getting the game. I think if you put a fucking Avengers level where, you know, when Loki, like you put Loki trying to bring all the aliens to invade New York, I think that if you do something like that in Kingdom Hearts, that is something that even like people who are not into Kingdom Hearts would love to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Star Wars, of course, if you do that right, you have a Luke. Stay away from Rey, Finn, Poe. Stay away from them. I'd say even stay away from like even like the prequels. I'd say right there with Luke, Leia, Han, Sora, Donald, Goofy. I think that's perfect to me.
Like that.
I agree with everything you're saying. The problem is, so the thing, they don't want another Kingdom Hearts 3 to happen, because with Kingdom Hearts 3, what makes Kingdom Hearts so special to a lot of people is that they include the Disney World specifically. And with Kingdom Hearts, they technically did that, but a lot of people felt that it was completely unnecessary, because as opposed to all the other Kingdom Hearts, you going into the Disney worlds and the things that you did there was not important to the story. You didn't do anything in the Disney worlds that related to the ultimate, the arc. Whereas in all the other Kingdom Hearts games, like what you're doing in the actual world relates back to the actual Kingdom Hearts story. Kingdom Hearts 3 was literally you go to these Disney worlds to power up. Like that was it. And you just have fun in Toy Story World, have fun and, you know, Entangled. It doesn't matter. You're just having fun. So with Kingdom Hearts 4, I think that they're going to go back to making the Disney worlds important and making them a part of the Kingdom Hearts universe. Yeah. And another thing that leads me to believe that, yeah, they do have the opportunity to, you know, get away from the Disney stuff. And they will do that, but this is not the game for it, because Tetsuya Nomura, the director of Kingdom Hearts 4, already came out and said that he was developing. There's a lot of Kingdom Hearts stuff here. So Tetsuya Nomura, inside of Toy Story World of Kingdom Hearts 3, he put in this Final Fantasy-esque game trailer, like amazing CGI, amazing game trailer of a Final Fantasy game that was called Verum Rex. It looked amazing as hell. It was basically a Final Fantasy game. They had magic, they had materia, they had it all. Like they had sword fights. Like go look at that trailer if you don't know what I'm talking about. So in that trailer that they introduced a new character called Yozora. And Nomura already came out and said he was contemplating, okay, do I make Kingdom Hearts 4 or do I make a Verum Rex game where Verum Rex is in Kingdom Hearts universe, but it will be the start of that spin-off where it's not the Disney World, it's more of Final Fantasy, like more of like Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy, like what you're envisioning, Thomas. And he said that he ended up not making the Verum Rex game yet because Kingdom Hearts fans were worried about what happened to Sora, what happened at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. So he basically confirmed that, okay, there's going to be a Verum Rex game where it is more Final Fantasy-esque, but Kingdom Hearts 4 needs to happen now. So because of that, I think we're still going to get the Disney. I think you are going to still get the Star Wars and Marvel, of course, because that is now lumped into Disney. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to have the different worlds be very different art styles. They kind of did that in Kingdom Hearts 2, where they included 1940s Mickey Mouse land, and it was like a completely different art style. It was black and white, like classic Mickey and Minnie Mouse back in the 1920s or whatever. Like that's how it was. So I think this game blending in Star Wars, Marvel, the more realistic franchises, and then when you go to the Disney properties, you'll have more, cartoonish Sora, Donald, Goofy.
Chat says it feels like the start of the Varen Rex anime, the world we saw.
Yes.
So I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that maybe a daytime version of that. I do think that's the direction they're going to go in. I also think there is an untapped potential that Kingdom Hearts has that really there's no other property that Disney is involved in, really. Like Marvel, yes, but because like for example, Doctor Strange coming out, that is going to have a lot of fucking surprises, right? Kingdom Hearts can do that. Like Kingdom, I don't understand why they don't really like tap into that. Because now I feel like even with Kingdom Hearts 3, it's like there was no world where I was like, oh, I'm really shocked to be here. Besides the DLC. The DLC, that was shocking to have the Final Fantasy versus 13 shit. And I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
But as far as like Disney properties, it's pretty much like the big one that was a surprise, but we saw it early, was the Toy Story world. That was the one that was like, oh, that's unique. But everything else kind of was like, all right, cool. Disney, for Frozen, Tangled, cool. Big Hero 6, cool. Why? What's stopping there to be a Simpsons world in here? Like, what's stopping?
It's just not Disney. It's not what the fans think of when they think of Disney.
But it is. But Star Wars isn't either.
I think it's easier for Kingdom Hearts fans like me to be like, okay, let's get in Star Wars world and anything Marvel. Yeah, we're totally up for that. But when you start talking about The Simpsons, you're like, Kingdom Hearts fans don't care about that. Like that's not what we want. We want the Disney, not the Fox stuff.
What about this? What about you bring Pandora?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Especially with
because Kingdom Hearts 3 was made before that Fox deal.
Are they so Fox owns Avatar?
And Disney owns it. And Disney owns it.
Yeah, they do. Because there's a Pandora world in Disney World.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Like Kingdom Hearts 3 was made before that deal went in place. So there's realistic odds that they could legit do other things beyond what you think of what are Disney worlds.
Chad does make a good point though, because with Pandora, that's more of like a mature world, and with Marvel and Star Wars, that's more of like kid friendly kind of action adventure.
I don't know. I feel like Pandora is. I feel like Star Wars is just as a lethal place as Pandora.
They don't chop off hand. I guess they don't need Pandora either, do they?
I mean, Anakin Skywalker walks around with the metal hand because his hand got chopped.
Hey, we still don't have what is it called? The sequel and the third one. So who knows what they're going to be doing in those movies for Avatar to win.
Chad does make a really good point. I feel like there's a missed opportunity. I do like the fact we like I'm sorry, not Ray. Luke, Han, and Leia. I do think that's great to do it on Endor. I think it would be even better to do it set in the Clone Wars. I think that would be fun to have a Clone Wars Kingdom Hearts crossover.
I think, yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing where they go, but I think they will start at the beginning, maybe with like Luke, because then when there's Kingdom Hearts 5, then you can get like the next Star Wars like arc or whatever, and event like you can look forward to it basically.
So Kingdom Hearts is gonna be jumping across the Star Wars timeline.
I mean, that is what they do in the games already.
Yeah, like, but I feel like the other games, like it's like Star Wars is such a wide story. Like there's no other property that Disney has that's like has a wide story like that, where it's like it takes place over the course of like 20-something years.
Yeah.
And there's different characters within like the 20. So it's gonna be interesting what they're gonna do. I'm very curious. They have a lot of options.
I'm excited.
Any final thoughts from the crowd?
Kingdom Hearts, Sora wielding a lightsaber keyblade. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know they're gonna show that off in a trailer one of these days.
Do you think it's gonna be a lightsaber? Or do you think the keyblade is gonna be like?
I think it's gonna be the keyblade handle and then like a lightsaber or something.
If I don't see Homer, Bart,
You won't.
Mars. If I don't see him, I'm not buying. I'm not
You
buying.
won't see him.
I don't even like The Simpsons like that.
It's okay. I'll buy 2 copies to make up the sales.
Oh my god! It's not gonna need that. It's already gonna sell a lot of copies whenever this thing comes out.
Yes, and Utada Hikaru, who always makes boss opening songs and ending songs for this game, that's gonna be another masterpiece. Ready to put it on my playlist.
We'll put that on your playlist, just like PlayStation is putting something in the checkbook, because they are trying to buy another huge studio. And Kojima Productions has obviously denied it, but that was the one that they were rumored to buy. But we know if it's not going to be them, it's going to be another big studio. I guess we can kind of go around. Like, Alfredo, who do you think they're going to buy?
Oh God, I was hoping you wouldn't pick me, because I don't know is the problem. Because there's a rumor of them buying some big studio. I know what the rumors are. Well, one of the big rumors are, and I got a lot of thoughts about that. But as far as who I think they're going to acquire, I truly do not know. I truly don't know.
Cole, do you have any guesses?
So I think they're gonna acquire Take-Two.
That's so huge.
It's so huge. That's so huge. So the market cap of Take-Two, $15 billion. Sony as a whole is like 100 and something. And so it would be massive.
That's cutting it close. That's cutting it close.
Yeah, it is.
It would be close. And, but here's the thing. It was rumored. It was a massive rumor. What, like 2 years ago?
It would accomplish. I think it's I heard the rumor too. Like it accomplishes a lot of their goals. Sorry to cut you off, but go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I mean that's it. I just think it could be that. Probably not. I'm just kind of. That's kind of what I'd like to see.
It'd be a great get. Like it'd be an absolutely great get.
Well, to me, it's like Microsoft got Activision. The only other the biggest get they can get is Take-Two. That's it. I mean, then you get the 2K franchise and you get Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto is the. I mean, that is the massive get. They got Call of Duty. We'll take GTA.
So
go ahead, Thomas.
My guess. My main guess. I have a main guess that I think would be the best for them, and the one that I think is more realistic.
Okay.
I think they should have Square Enix. Now, I know that troubles Kingdom Hearts fans. I know that troubles Final Fantasy fans, and I completely understand. But to me, it just seems like a marriage that I'm surprised didn't already happen.
Yeah, because
in like the early 90s or early 2000s. Like, I'm very shocked that it didn't happen then.
That's true.
And it is a weird time to do it because Square is the biggest they've ever been, and they publish a lot of games. So PlayStation will be taking that on as well. But I do think having that list of developers and completely taking over the Japanese market, essentially, I think that would be great for Sony.
See, I got thoughts. I got thoughts on both of you guys' picks.
Let me get my realistic pick too.
Okay, go ahead.
I realistically think it's probably gonna be like someone like Konami. I think they will acquire them. And I feel like not the Kachinko aspect of things, but they would acquire their game studios.
I could see that. Okay.
Just to get and
think that's so fitting. Both of those are so fitting. Like if they got Konami, because Metal Gear Solid is synonymous with PlayStation, right?
And Silent Hills is too.
Yeah. So is exactly.
And if they can't get Kojima Productions directly, then why not go for the Silent Hill brand or the Silent Hill brand or the Metal Gear Solid brand?
And so is Square. You made a good point. I mean, Square is synonymous with PlayStation, the RPGs, and then in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Even Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Tomb Raider, exactly. Yeah.
Even
that
Tomb
is
Raider
true. I didn't even think about Tomb Raider. But here's the problem with that I have, because when I start thinking about, okay, who are they going to acquire, I automatically go to, okay, who is a Sony competitor, or who is a Sony level developer, as in who gives these AAA flawless production experiences that you can't get anywhere. And I don't think that's Square where they are now. The
Well,
point that
Rockstar is the only other option.
I don't
well,
think that's
with that
I don't think
one,
that's anybody, to be honest. Like I can't name like if we're just lumping PlayStation Studios all together, like
mhm.
I don't know if there's any like collective who makes games that can tout the resume that they have.
Well, I mean, I also look at like it doesn't have to be that, but like potential as well. And for Square Enix specifically, they make great games. I enjoy all their games, obviously, because I'm a JRPG lover. But I don't see, how their Final Fantasy games are going with, they're kind of hit or misses. They're RPGs as they are, with Octopath Traveler that has potential, with Triangle Strategy has potential. They're good games, but they're not great games. Like they're
But
not games that I don't think can get to the PlayStation level.
but just to kind of address that really quick. I don't think that means that stuff like Octopath Traveler, Triangle Strategy would just be exclusive to PlayStation. I don't think that it would be a situation where they just make everything
It would
exclusive.
be first party. Oh,
I
okay,
think that
interesting.
PlayStation, this is a money-making thing. Like they're going to still allow games to still be published on other consoles, just like how Microsoft
Yeah.
is doing that with
Ooh.
Well, y'all,
Activision.
and it's a
Okay, I
defensive
see.
play because they want to have all this in their back pocket in case
Right.
Microsoft starts taking stuff off the table.
Exactly.
You
Like
know,
Call of Duty, as far as Microsoft has stated, is going to remain
until
multi-platform game.
it's not. Until
Right,
it's not.
exactly. And so Sony can kind of say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like we have,
So
we might
that's
keep
why
Final Fantasy on,
y'all,
but
but that's why I think this is GT. This could be Take Two.
I feel like Take-Two is just too big.
Take Two is
That's
too,
I
what
know,
yeah.
I know.
I
I
think it's too
think.
big.
I
But
think
we
that
also
it's
thought that
strategically the best decision. I'm not saying it would definitely be the best thing they could possibly get, but I do think the minds over in Japan are going to look at the price tag on that and say,
Mhm.
yeah.
and it's just because you're dealing with so many other franchises that like because you're not going to be able to make GTA exclusive.
Right.
Like I can't picture any of their games going exclusive.
Yeah, that'd be
Like
crazy.
all the big, if you think of the big games for Take Two, it's Grand Theft Auto, of course. It's Borderlands. It's 2K.
Well, they would do the same thing as Activision. They do the same thing as what Microsoft is going to do with Activision.
But I'm like,
Mhm.
for
Right.
the price tag of like, you're not going to get really any exclusive games. And because all those games that I mentioned do have major multiplayer components, so you're not going to want to make
Well,
that an exclusive
like
game.
Matt
I
says in the chat, well, they just won't go exclusive.
Right.
They
I
just
think
keep
that's
it.
fine. I think that's fine, exactly what you're talking about. Even you mentioning like Square Enix, for example, like it doesn't have to be exclusive. But when I picture, Sony buying it, it's going to become a Sony first party studio, I guess, or not. They can still develop on whatever they want. But at the end of the day, PlayStation still needs to put, PlayStation Studios or Sony or whatever logo on the game that is shipped. And when it comes to that, I feel like they are such a quality over quantity type studio that they're not gonna just put their name on anything. Like just because it has to be a great game. So that leads me to believe, okay, I could see it for, of course, Grand Theft Auto, because that is universally considered great games, all of that. So I could see it there. But when it comes to Square Enix and their games, I don't see them putting their Sony stamp of approval on a lot of their games.
But I
And
don't think
that's
they're
why I have
gonna.
the hard time
Yeah,
saying,
but I don't
yeah,
think they're gonna
Square
need to
Enix.
because I don't think the majority of games that they would get from Square Enix would be multi-platform games. Like I don't anticipate them making, let's say, like a Final Fantasy Strangers of Paradise exclusive for PlayStation. Like that would be a
Mhm.
multi-platform game, but the next Final Fantasy might not. That like the next like mainline Final Fantasy might not.
Mhm.
The next Tomb Raider might not.
Mhm.
Like that's the direction that I think could be possible. I don't think that it will and you're gonna have exclusive games, but I think for the most part, this is to make more money and you're gonna want to have a studio that you're going to be able to make a lot of money off of. So I think Take-Two is a big, like, I think it fits the bill most. I just think that's too expensive for PlayStation's blood.
Well,
Like
look,
I think Microsoft would be more. I think that I could see them doing that. I
and
can't see
that's
Sony
why I
doing
think Sony may be just trying to pull out the stops and get it so Microsoft
So
doesn't.
Microsoft can't.
But so
Yeah,
cash on hand,
much.
Sony's cash on hand, 2021 is 44 billion. Market cap of Take-Two is 14 billion. They could do it.
They could do it. No, they absolutely could. I'm not saying they can't. It's just, will they be
And
willing
now is the
to
best time too. GTA 6 is probably
I would be
24 months
more.
out.
I would want them to go to Take-Two over Square Enix.
Oh, me too.
I like
But-
Square Enix as an independent party. That's
Well,
just
you're
me.
you're biased.
Yeah, I am biased.
You're
I'm
very
biased.
biased.
And look, I'm biased too. On
Well,
the
Cole,
Rockstar side.
would you think they would make GTA 6 exclusive? Because I don't
No,
see
no.
that in any planet. Like I don't see it at all. I
But-
feel like Rockstar would revolt. Rockstar would be like, yeah,
Hey, y'all, it was exclusive to PlayStation too.
that was
GTA
before
3,
GTA Online.
that was before GTA
Yeah.
5. Yeah.
Like you can't have a
That's
GTA Online only on PlayStation.
Well,
Mhm.
now that we kind of see where things are trending to where I think Microsoft kind of set the tone when they bought Call of Duty and said, look, this is going to
On
be
everything.
how it is. And then PlayStation followed up. They bought Destiny and Bungie, and they're planning on leaving it out. So I think if they got GTA, they would leave it. But, like I said, it kind of, they both have leverage against each other. Hey, we got GTA, we got Destiny and Bungie and all this.
Yeah,
Don't take your stuff off the marketplace. We're not going to take ours off.
Mhm.
yeah, I agree.
I
think it's definitely. I think all of our guesses. I know. I don't think Alfredo made a guess,
I
but
don't have a guess. I'm just like, no, don't buy anything.
I mean, I feel you. I think it's exciting though. The kind of like whatever direction they're gonna go in. I think it's exciting to see, like, because I feel like when you buy one of these studios, you're guaranteeing yourself at least one exclusive game.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, I fully anticipate at some point we're going to see a Bungie exclusive for PlayStation. I don't know when that's going to be, but I feel like that's
Yeah.
just to me a given.
Yeah.
I think that if I'm at Sony and I know that Microsoft could potentially buy Take-Two, and now they own the two biggest games in the world, Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. Like that's kind of game. I mean, not really game over, but like that's massive for Game Pass. Even if Grand Theft Auto is out there on other consoles, if you can subscribe to Game Pass and get Call of Duty and GTA, jeez, y'all, that's insane.
There's another studio I was thinking of. I don't know how much they're worth, but I know PlayStation already has an ongoing relationship with them. What would Sony buying Epic look like?
Can they? Epic is
They can't buy Epic.
How big is that?
They make too
Epic
much
is-
money
is
on
really-
Fortnite.
really big. It's
Oh,
bigger
I
than
mean,
Take-Two,
too
right?
big.
I don't know. Are they bigger than 2K?
Yeah, they're double the size,
Yeah.
32 billion.
Yeah, solely because of Fortnite, probably.
I mean, hey, go hard or go home, right? You
28
got-
billion.
hey, if you're gonna spend 15 billion, what is it? 28 billion?
28 billion, yeah.
That would be, and you're buying like that engine and everything. Like it's a big, like you're getting a lot.
Mhm.
I feel like that would, in terms of like what you would get out of that, that would be a pretty substantial thing.
I feel like I'm back in what was the year, like 2014, where everyone started buying things up, and I'm like, no, just stop buying things. Just let them be independent. I'm so.
Well, the thing is, when
old
you're
school.
independent, things get like it. Things potentially can get stagnant.
Yeah.
And like that's
And,
what happened. That's why with
backing
Bethesda, like
when you get
Bethesda
bought.
was before Microsoft bought Bethesda, they were in stagnant stage. Like it was like that was
just
when
like Activision.
yeah, for Activision too. It's like there you get into this stagnation when you have to just support yourself, and so obviously we still have to see the games that come out of these accusations, but I do think that Square is a good shot. I think Kojima is a good shot. I think Kojima is still a good shot. Even though they denied it, I think that it shocks me that they're not.
He's lying.
I mean, there is a rumor that he has an Xbox exclusive in the works. There is that rumor as well. So maybe that's affecting that. I don't think he's done working with PlayStation though.
For sure.
But
I mean,
yeah.
all of this came out, or even more, because of PlayStation including Death Stranding on the PlayStation Studios logo. So everyone started, because of that, they started thinking, "Oh, is Kojima Productions gonna be a first party?" And then
I
they
didn't
ended
think
up coming out and saying no.
I didn't think anything of that. I'm like, it's a PlayStation exclusive game. I'm sure if they want to, Bloodborne could be on there one day. It's like
I'm
I
shocked
don't.
it's not, actually. Now that you say it,
Honestly, what if they just bought From Software? How would you feel about that?
no way they could after Elden Ring, right?
I mean, I feel like buying From Software is a lot cheaper than what we mentioned.
Yeah, but now I'm speaking from Software's perspective, because now they're like, oh, like people like, we are mainstream now, so Elden Ring 2 is gonna be like off the charts. So like, I don't know if they would
Well,
want to
maybe they can
sell
still make
themselves
Elden
before that.
Ring multi-platform. What if you make? Because I feel like it's going to be a lot harder for them to get them to make a Bloodborne 2. I feel like that's like as they release
With
games,
Elden Ring.
it's getting a lot like all the fans of Bloodborne who want Bloodborne 2. I feel like that's going to get hard to get them back on board for that. You just buy them.
Y'all, there's someone that we didn't mention, but I don't really see this happening. I think all of our picks are. I think it's more likely they would buy Take-Two than this one, and Take-Two is probably the least likely of the ones we mentioned. Ubisoft. I just don't think they need Ubisoft because they're third-person games.
I feel like if you're gonna buy
Sony's got
Ubisoft, you might as well buy Take-Two.
Yeah,
Like
well, Ubisoft is a third of the price, or
that's
fourth the
true.
price.
But
It's
my same argument before. I don't think they're up to PlayStation standards.
And also, you just
the only
bought
reason.
Bungie. You just bought Bungie. Like when I think of Ubisoft, for the most part, it's either Assassin's Creed and their open world games, or stuff like the Tom Clancy series,
Which we haven't had in forever.
Not, I think Breakpoint came out like what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Something we got to remember.
I was talking about Sam Fisher.
Something we do got.
Oh, right, Splinter Cell.
Yeah. Something we do got to remember is when Sony said that they wanted to have, what was it, 10 games as a service? Was it, or 20?
Mm-hmm.
Was it some absurd number, like
lot.
20? 25?
It was like 20 something.
So that kind of leans to GTA, or Square Enix has Final Fantasy 14.
Well, Sony seems to me the type that wants to develop new IPs.
Yeah, but they did say they were launching like 25 games as a service, and that may come through acquisitions too.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. That's true for sure. I think that you're going to get a mix of those.
Yeah.
I
mean, we already saw Destiny, which was a huge one.
When they made that, did they say they're exclusive live service games, or they said
no? They just said
games?
that they're gonna under their umbrella they're gonna have like 20 live service games.
Yeah, I think we're gonna definitely see some acquisitions that are going to address what they're saying.
Yeah, maybe like half of that number.
And I think they're going to be studios that are developing them as well. We don't know what a lot of their studios are kind of cooking up right now. We know what some of them are doing, obviously, like Insomniac. We know we know what a studio like Naughty Dog's going to be the other live service game they're developing. So we'll
taking their sweet time with factions.
Hey, take all the time you need. Give me.
No, I want it now. I've waited long enough.
You'll be waiting until 2023, that's for sure. Yep. Unfortunately. But what you don't have to wait for is our mailbag. And we have the mailman back himself, the Duke of Rocket League, Cole. So I'm going to let you take it away.
All right. So this is from Elden Boy 721.
Great name.
Yeah, Elden Boy. The Elden Boy. So does that mean is he like an old man? The Elden Boy? Okay. I'm sure you guys all heard about the rumor that Breath of the Wild 2 might not be on the Switch. Do you think it's possible that we might see it as a launch game for Nintendo Switch 2 next year?
Ooh.
That's a loaded question.
Is it?
Yeah, I would say hell no to both.
Yeah, me too.
Hell no that it's going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, and hell no to the Switch 2 releasing next year.
What about a Switch? What about a late fall, a November release for Breath of the Wild 2, and a Switch 2 releasing February, March 2023 with Breath of the Wild?
At that point, they might as well release like a bundle, right? And just hold it off for like a couple months and then be
Yeah.
like, oh, the Switch 2 version has these
launching.
upgraded visuals.
Yeah.
See, the problem is we have not seen at least in my gaming lifetime, Nintendo release a console that is done as well as the Switch.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's been since I'd say the SNES. At this point, I think this is the most successful thing they've released since the SNES. And like, because obviously the portable consoles, I know the Game Boy did well. I know that the DS did well. But in terms of the games that were coming out on that thing, like they were not very expansive games. What type of games you were getting on the DS. I think the Switch being a home console and a portable console has let them they're able to make games that are somewhat at the same level as the other companies. And I think that because of that, they are going to let this thing coast for a while. Like I think like the SNES was how long did the SNES stay on the market? Like what, like 6 years, 7 years?
It was probably on the market for longer than that.
Yeah.
But
But
the Nintendo 64 came out 4 years later.
4 years later.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Nintendo
we're in year
64 came in
5 of
96.
Nintendo Switch right now.
Interesting.
And 64 came out in 96.
I guess I don't. But my thing is, I don't think they would release something to combat the Switch's sales. And it's not like they have a portable console as well anymore. They only have the Switch.
I mean, technically,
I don't think it makes sense to do it.
Technically, they did already. I mean, it's still the Switch, but it's the OLED model, which is an updated version. I could see them doing a Switch Pro of sorts. What the only thing that I'm like is that because this whole thing came up because Digital Foundry basically did a video on the new footage that we got for Breath of the Wild's 2 new trailer, and they basically said that the graphics that are being shown are not possible on the current Switch, even the new OLED model. Like it's not possible, and that on top of the fact that Nintendo does not release trailers that aren't on the same specs as their as their games will run when they actually come out. So the only possible explanation for that would be if there is some sort of next gen, or if for this one special occasion Nintendo decided, hey, let's pull a Watch Dogs where we up-res everything and then we can downgrade it later.
Right.
Which I don't think Nintendo would do, but I also don't see it being a Switch 2. I only see it as the only thing being possible is a Switch Pro. Right, and I think we can get that next year. I think we can see that release alongside Breath of the Wild 2 with updated visuals.
I think that's definitely possible. Like having a revision. I just don't think it's going to I don't think we're going to get a follow-up to the Switch for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like I'm guessing at minimum, we might expect that like 2024.
Yeah, I agree.
That sounds about right.
I agree with that.
Which, I mean, that would make the Switch a 7-year span console, which that sounds about right to me.
For the Switch, yeah.
Which by that time it would be in the conversation of the highest selling consoles of all time.
Yeah. Especially if before then you have released a Pro version. Because with the Pro version, you're still going to have to make, all of everything that's currently on the Switch be backwards compatible or possible to play on the Pro version itself as well.
Yeah.
So as long as that's my child affection.
It just went off on my phone too, Alfredo.
Did you not hear that?
Was it Amber? Was it
Amber Alert? We're both in Georgia, so they're just
real
going
loud.
crazy.
Oh man.
But yeah, I can see them doing it. I can see them. I do think that there's going to be a Pro version released alongside Breath of the Wild. Get your special edition Switch for Breath of the Wild 2, all of that jazz. Yeah. And then it's going to be running at 5 FPS when you are running it on your regular Switch.
I'd love that. That'd be so hype. I'd love a Switch Pro.
You wanted it at 5 FPS?
Yeah.
That'd be so hype. That'd be awesome.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think that's realistic to have a Switch that has better visuals. Because I think the Switch can handle performance pretty well. Like I can't say like there's some games where I really do see a performance difference, but for the most part, I can expect my Switch to give me a solid 30
Yeah,
for most games.
I don't know. My Switch was struggling when I was playing Triangle Strategy,
Of all games,
which
that
I
one.
don't think is graphically intensive or intensive at all, and it was struggling sometimes.
Well,
Um,
the one game that surprised me was when I played and beat through Pokemon Legends. I was shocked that I'm like, this game doesn't look as nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna look. We were joking about it. Every single press conference they add a frame, but it's like, nah, it ran at a solid 30 the whole way through. And yeah, were some environments GameCube looking, sure, but it really didn't matter.
not GameCube.
I mean, yeah, some of them, some of the trees, some of those trees, and some of those puddles, yeah, it didn't look that great. But I don't look for those in Nintendo games, and I think fundamentally, most Nintendo fans have to admit that you don't care about that stuff.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
and look, that's something that only Nintendo gets away with. I call it the From Software effect, where I'm playing Elden Ring and I'm like, there are so many things I can nitpick about this game, but I know at the end of the day, these are just From Software isms.
Well, look, at the end of the day, gameplay trumps graphics.
Absolutely. And so, that's why I say From Software and Nintendo, it's like both of those are developers who mainly care about gameplay. And that's Nintendo's always been able to nail it, whether it's at 60 frames, whether it's at 30 frames. It doesn't matter. All people are looking for really is a bump in visuals and just the ability to be able to play more multi-platform games on the Switch.
And that's what Matt hints at in the chat is the DLSS is what they're working on. And if anybody out there hasn't looked into DLSS, look it up because it is very impressive. At the amount of like the you don't have to have much power to achieve really great looking visuals and high frame rate. You can squeeze a lot of power out of the system with that.
I was gonna say my only concern for them, next year, okay, Breath of the Wild 2 with this new DLSS model. Cole, how would you feel after you had just bought the OLED version this year? Or very recently.
Actually, I'd be excited because now my two kids have taken it over, my OLED and my original Switch. So I would just get the Pro version and it'd be all mine. So I need a third one. I need a third one at this point.
As somebody who got the OLED too, like I wouldn't mind either. Like it wouldn't.
Oh, really?
It wouldn't, not really.
I didn't know you got the OLED.
The OLED. You might not have been on my announcement. But yeah, it's just another Switch. So it's like I just look at it as when I was younger, it's like, oh, I went from having a Game Boy Advance to a Game Boy Advance SP. That's why I kind of just look at it like that.
Got you.
If you gave me one that has better performance, like a Switch Pro, I would definitely be interested. That's what I originally wanted from the Switch when we were first talking about.
I would have bought it. Probably.
I would have too. So I think that I feel like they knew that. So they know that we're gonna buy it regardless.
They knew we were gonna double dip.
Yeah.
If they really do release this and it lasts through for another 4 years, and you are able to play more up to date games, I think that you could realistically see the Switch becoming the highest selling console of all time. I think it's very possible.
Just their games without having so many, frame dips. That'd be great too.
I would like to be able to play some multi-platform games on here more because we are getting to the point where they're not going to be on the Switch right now as it is right now. Like you're not going to see the new Need for Speed on Switch. You're not going to see trying to think of some other like the games that we are seeing going to next gen only. No way they're running on Switch. So hopefully this is to address that. To try to get them through to whenever they're going to release the Switch 2. So I think we're all resounding that the Switch 2 is not coming out next year. Right?
And we keep calling it the Switch 2, but I don't think it's going to be called the Nintendo Switch 2. They've never had a sequel.
Yes,
console.
they have.
Yes, Wii U.
Oh,
the Wii U.
What have they had? Oh, right.
Yeah, but
so just added.
Honestly, here's my thing. I think that though all the consoles that they released in the past, they weren't released in a vacuum. They all were released kind of in that time, like in the time frame where sometimes they cared about backwards compatibility, and sometimes like they said fuck it, and most people wouldn't give them shit about it. Now they get shit for it. And so I think keeping everything in that same ecosystem is very important.
That's very important.
What are they going to call it though?
I think Switch 2 is a pretty fine name. I think it's fine.
Oh, really?
I think it's perfect. And I think if they made it so like the dock is just its own thing. Like what if it's just literally just two consoles? Like what if the dock's just its own thing?
That'd be cool, but also expensive, I imagine.
I mean, shit, like I pay $400 for that. Like if it was $400 and the dock can work without the Switch in it, and it can still be used to charge the Switch all the same. You know, it's like, yeah. It'd be the ugliest looking console of all time.
Right? We can dream.
we could dream. Nintendo, hire me if you need me to. But if you need to, but
yeah, my final name submission is the Switch V though. Switch V.
The Switch V?
Yeah. I just picked a random letter. Or a Switch W.
What about the
Switch Vita? The Switch Vita.
Okay, maybe Switch W. There's no consoles with W, so it's fine.
Would you say the Switchback?
Oh, Switchback. That could be cool.
Hey, just glancing at this, the best-selling consoles of all time. Do y'all know what number 2 is behind PlayStation 2?
Nintendo DS.
Yeah, Nintendo DS.
Oh,
155.
Then the Wii.
Then the Wii.
Right?
No, so PlayStation 2 155 million, Nintendo DS 154.02 million. Like that's absurd. 1 million, just 1 million behind PS2. The third best selling is Game Boy and Game Boy Color.
Oh wow.
Yep, at 118. So then,
I don't think that count. That don't count because that's two separate systems.
Yeah, two separate systems. Yeah.
Yeah, I my cousin had a Game Boy Color, and I used to play them when I was a kid.
But it didn't add any power. It would just added color.
Yeah, just the
color. But there were exclusive Game Boy Color games. What if that's like the
Switch though? What if the Switch just adds? I don't know. What would they add? DSLR, DL,
4K.
So the Switch D. Or Switch 4K.
Honestly, maybe? Switch HD is not the worst name in the world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but the original Switch already HD. So
the Switch Ultra
Switch
HD.
4K. Yeah.
I think Switch Pro is perfect. Just name it the Switch
Get into
Pro.
that Kingdom Hearts naming convention.
Oh my god!
Switch 4K.
Why are we headed back to Kingdom Hearts now?
Gotta bring it back. Always.
Oh man! Before we go, I do gotta mention the final comment in chat. What about the Switchy?
The Switch I. Well, they did have the DSi, so they can't use the thing is they can't use the same letter twice. So they already have the DSi. Can't use it.
A bunch of grown adults are going around. Where's my Switchy?
You got a Switchy? You got a Switchy?
Have you seen my Switchy?
Oh, they could do Switch E, and it would still be Switch E.
I don't like it.
Switchy.
What?
It smells like Swiss
it's the
cheese.
Same thing.
It smells like
an E.
Swiss cheese.
That sounds like if they had a mascot, like and and you just put some eyes on the screen, like his name would be Switchy. You know, Nintendo. I'm on the market. I'm not a free agent per se, but come on, like just get me to your marketing department. We'll make
yes. Let's replace Mario with a better mascot.
Tell me that would not like get big if they did that.
It wouldn't.
It would like you give him some legs, like you give him some legs.
That's such a 1994 thing. Hey, I'm Switchy.
Right.
He's like the paper clip, you know?
Yeah.
Clippy was awesome.
Clippy.
Annoying, but awesome.
Damn. Well, I want to thank everybody in chat. I want to thank anybody listening. I want to thank anybody watching the Dukes of Gaming podcast. Again, follow us on social media. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast service. Watch us on YouTube. Watch us live on Twitch. Leave a like, a review, a comment, anything to help support the show. You can even email us at therealdukesofgaming@gmail.com. Have your question read live on air. We will be coming at you next week with some more hot takes. Hit the bell as well to get notifications on when we drop our latest videos on YouTube. We post everywhere, every week. So make sure you start your week right with the Dukes of Gaming. I bid thee farewell.